Hey there, my friends. Hope you all had a lovely Thanksgiving if you celebrated, and just simply time with your family if you didn't. Actually, shooting this on Thanksgiving afternoon because I'm just sitting around watching some football and having a lazy day. Um, Wanted to talk a little bit about exercise and fitness today because that's one thing that I really want to focus on in this next year. Although I'm not doing like I'm going to do like everybody else and be like, okay, I'm going to get started in January. I'm going to kind of start upping it now. I got back in, honestly, over the last 10 or 11 years, I have moved my body, but I really haven't done a lot of focused training. And then I got back in the gym this past summer, got back in there like mid to late July. But then I got interrupted when I had COVID in August and was out for almost 3 weeks. But I've kind of been back into it and working out, doing some strength training and just doing some moving my body, just like a lot of walking and whether it's on the track or walking on the treadmill. And, I do a little bit of rowing from time to time. And I'm going to talk about another one of my most recent favorite podcasts, The Proof with Simon Hill. One thing I like about him is he's very knowledgeable. I mean, very knowledgeable, and cites crazy amounts of studies on everything. But besides being plant-based and having really good information on that, he is very much into fitness himself. And when I kind of squeezed out all the or not all of them, but when I kind of gone through all the the podcast of his on food, I listened to a few of his on fitness and exercise, and he had some experts on there with him. And I'm talking about some real experts, like some doctors, some PhDs, exercise specialists, and whatever. And it just really kind of got me thinking and just got me wanting to up my fitness a little bit. Because one thing he was talking about was like high intensity training, and he was getting into stuff like VO2 max and how increasing the volume of oxygen that we're able to take into our lungs to maximum actually is a very good indicator of not so much our longevity, our longevity, but how we're going to live when we get older in life, just as much as the food can be. So I wanted to start doing a little bit different training. Now, what I've been doing, and I will continue with this because I will be 60 years old in just a few months. So one thing, bone density and bone strength is important. And even though I went to the gym for a lot of my life, since I was like 15 or 16, I kind of slacked off a good bit, in the last 10 years and did it off and on. And that's very important, for that bone health. But also, too, you just want to maintain a certain level of strength. So I have built some strength back up, being back in the gym these recent months. And I kind of want to continue with that. Another thing that I'm really focusing on, and that's why on a day like this when I don't have much else to do, I'm just kind of been Googling and searching around workouts and whatever. He was talking about this, and I'm going to link two podcasts below, the two really good ones that I highly recommend. And one thing about his too, you might not want to, if you don't have time, I recommend listening to the whole thing. He has timestamp bullet points on there, so you can go down and really get into the heart of it, just right away, just by hitting the button. But he talks a lot about like really breaking it down into efficiency. Like, if you have this amount of hours per week to put into exercise, working out, like how you should budget that. And one thing I've been doing, because I move a lot, like one of my things that I like to do for movement is I'm not going to get back into, I've run before in my life, but at 60, I'm not going to run and tear these knees up. So I get on the treadmill, and when I want to get my heart rate up, what I will do instead of running is I go at a good speed walking, and I just put the incline on. I put that incline on until I can get into my zone 2, which we're going to talk a little bit about zones. Zone 2 kind of lays the groundwork for your endurance. That zone 2 is a zone that you can work out in longer. And basically, zone 2 is when you are training at 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. Now you can calculate those type things. You can get devices, what have you. I think I'm going to actually get a heart rate monitor. I saw one on Amazon the other day for about $75. One that goes to your chest, has an app for your phone or a watch or whatever fit thing that you have. But and also too, just to kind of know, and this is a pretty good indicator if you don't have any sort of a monitor or fitness tool or whatever. It's basically when you're working out hard enough to where you can still talk. You're not working out so hard to where you're gasping and struggling for air. Also too, in that zone too, that'll help you a little bit is you just if you'll concentrate on keeping your mouth closed and breathing through your nose while you're doing this. But I also too want to, and you don't need as much of this, and there's different methods of doing it, is the high intensity training where you're working between like 70 to really more, I'd say more in like 75 to 90% of your heart rate, of your maximum heart rate. At least getting over 80, getting up into 80, 85%. And when you're getting up into 80, 85%, you're really going at it. Like if you were working out next to somebody, you're not going to be able to carry on a conversation. But these shorter, more intense bursts actually are workouts that will increase that VO2 max a lot more than the longer ones. But once again, it's not just like, okay, well, some people would think like, well, okay, I'll just train all HIIT, high intensity training, and you'll burn out on that. There's only so much, and that's something, like I say, I've got a lot to read on it. I really want to tailor a fitness program that is very efficient for me, because like I say, at my age, I'm not interested in getting all swole and huge, which I don't quite understand. Like people especially over a certain age in the gym, they're beasts. I mean, there's some guys in my gym, and I'm just in a rural area in lower Alabama that are just like probably in their 50s, that are just monsters in the gym. I mean, they can sling those weights around, and a lot of times too, they'll be big, and they'll be thick, but they'll kind of have a belly on them, which kind of indicates they're probably not doing a lot of that cardio and focusing on their heart. So for me, I just want to strength train to the point that I have good, adequate strength, and I keep my bones nice and healthy. But like I say, I'd like to really work on the heart a little bit more this year, because like I say, eating eating a whole food plant-based diet, kind of keeping the fat low, I think helps with heart disease, helps prevent with heart disease. But when it comes to something like that, I don't want to fool around with it. And also too, just out and about doing whatever, whether it's just out doing day-to-day things, or like somebody invites you to go on a hike, or you need to do something that's a little bit more vigorous, you have that energy to do it. So I would say, and I'll wrap it up here, that to end it up as, okay, if there's different elements that I want to do in my workout and you might be interested in looking into, it's the strength training, resistance training, zone 2 workouts, which are going to be your base, kind of like establishing a base of endurance. And you can do these for longer periods of time. You can do these for 30, 40 minutes if you have the time. It's all about budgeting. And then these shorter, high intense workouts. And then the fourth part is some sort of mobility work, stretching, yoga, just to kind of, keep the body limbered up from all of this work that you're doing. So, yep, that's what I want to kind of focus on this year. I'll keep eating, kind of keep always trying to move forward in knowledge of nutrition. But maybe you want to look into this, but I would definitely recommend going and listening to these podcasts. Listen in your spare time. You don't have to, they can be long, but you don't have to digest them at once. You can listen in your car. You can listen to a little bit more later. But I thought they were good enough to where I'm going to go back and listen to both of them over again, probably take better notes this time. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. As we go into it, have a beautiful holiday season, and I'll see you here again soon. Peace.